Fantastically welcome Chris C.
Christopher, alcoholic. Set a timer. I'll tell you guys a story real quick. A couple days ago, I was on a Zoom meeting I started going to about a week ago, and it was an international around the world meeting, and I forgot that I was on it. I started changing. I was ass naked for a bunch of people. I know. I don't know. I figured I'd break the ice. I thought that was funny, and I told everyone I knew. For guys that don't know me, for the ones that know me, I know the suit ain't fooling anyone. But the ones that don't know me, just let it be known that I was taking direction from my sponsor for respect of the program, and that's why I'm wearing it. I feel like a fish out of water. I do. That was the most nerve-wracking thing. I wasn't worried about what I was going to say because it's not my job. All I have to do is share my experience and, deliver a little bit of identification and my experience through the steps. I didn't write these steps, so that's the easy part. So I'm going to identify a little bit with you guys. I came in, and this is all I'm going to talk about. All I'm going to talk about drugs, but it might help someone. I came into the rooms of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I identify as an alcoholic. I am an alcoholic, but I came here by ways and means of heroin. Heroin brought me to my knees, and I went through the big book, and it was the best thing I could have did for myself. And that's all I'm going to talk about that. There's plenty to talk about. I remember the alcoholism though. Like, man, that alcoholism. I remember when I was a kid, I used to go to bed, and I would have chapters. I would go to bed with my brother, and I would be like, okay, I would review my whole day, and I'll be thinking about what I could have did, what happened, what they might have thought about it. And I'm like 5 or 6, and my whole, I don't know how long that lasted for. I just remember doing this as a kid, and I was like just going through this is racking my brain, and that was probably the first alcoholic experience that, like, as an adult, that I could go back and pinpoint like what I used to do. And my dad, he was actually in the program of AA. He was in AA when I was a kid. I never saw him drunk. But I remember one night he yelled. He was like, "Shut the fuck up!" And I used to see him every other weekend. And what he was probably thinking was like, "You're fucked." Like that's like he probably knew I was like he was probably telling me, he was probably in his head telling me, thinking I should do a 4-step or something, like get that shit worked out. I can only imagine, But so growing up really wasn't just like everyone else. It wasn't what made me an alcoholic. It may have made me some other things having to do with character defects that I chose to pick up, but I grew up in poverty, and I really don't remember much of my early childhood, but I just remember it was all just struggle. And I want to speak about my dad again. I remember him telling me when I was like 9 years old, he was like, "Chris, you're gonna struggle," and I was like, "What the fuck?" I thought I'd been struggling, like, for real. But I believe my dad knew something, because there is alcoholic. I'm not close with like my outside family, outside of my intermediate family, my mom, my brother, my sister, and now my nieces and my nephew. But I have a big family, and they're all drinkers. They're all drinkers, and I didn't get to experience. I may have seen them once a year on holidays. But I believe my dad knew something and probably by my behavior too, and he sat me down. He used to just tell me, like, "You're gonna struggle," And I didn't really know what he meant by that, because I honestly did. I did think that, like, if it gets worse than this, like, I don't know. But and I didn't know what he's talking about. And then I remember he told me, I think the Brewers were struggling that year from Milwaukee, and and he was like, "You're gonna," because I asked him, I was like, "What does that mean?" He's like, "You're gonna struggle like the Brewers, but they'll." And this was probably in '94, if that means anything to like sports people. I'm not one, but. So at 12 years old, my first drink, I was 12 years old. So before that, I'll just back up. Before that, Dare came to school, and they wouldn't let me try the goggles on or participate because they said I looked at like I was already intoxicated, not with alcohol, but like, and I wasn't. I really wasn't. But what that did, it made like I was like, man, like everyone else got to see the goggles. Like, why can't I see the goggles? Like, and I always had like a yearning to like, well, what does drunk really feel like, you know? And that was the truth. But at 12, and I was probably like 10 at that time, and I used to like, I just wanted to like, I heard the concept of like being high, and I was like, what does that mean? They're like, yeah, you feel like an out of body experience, and I was like, well, that sounds great, you know. And by the time I was 12 years old, it was a wine cooler. Slammed it. I was drinking with a bunch of people I shouldn't have been drinking with, and I threw up immediately. I remember shadow boxing this grown man, and he started hitting me, and that gentleman, at the time that was what I wanted. It's like I arrived. Not only did I arrive with, it really wasn't even about the drink at that time. It was like I arrived in like a place, because I didn't have a place in my house. In my house, I was like the one trying to keep my mom together, standing up for my brother because he wouldn't stand up for himself. I was just always like in the mix, you know. But I found a group of people that like I could, like it was okay to basically think the way I think, and not only that, act the way I wanted to act. You know, I got involved in some nefarious things, and I kind of ran with that. And I'll tell you guys, my brother, he grew up just like me and my sister. My brother would drink. He would drink on like a bender, you know, and then he would stop. I remember my mom telling me when I was little, I think your brother's an alcoholic. He would stay home and he would drink, and then when he says he's gonna stop, he would stop. Every time I drank, I blacked out, and I woke up in jail. About 90% of the time, I blacked out, I stole, woke up in jail, don't remember what happened. And that was like so normal, because like my lifestyle leading up to that, it was like that was not even like on the radar. That was just kind of like in the mix of like, that's Chris. And it talks about like alcohol being your alcoholic life being the only normal one, and that's what it came, you know, like I never even thought about it. I never looked at my life, I'm gonna take this. I never thought about that, like I might have a drinking problem. I just knew I didn't like to drink, because when I drank, when I drank, I woke up in jail, like, and it wasn't always like that. I used to be able to handle my drink. At 14 years old, I was drinking with my brother and other people. We were drinking about 1.5 gallons, a gallon, just the 1.75 liters. And I convinced my mom. My mom, she doesn't drink, she doesn't smoke, she swears, but she didn't raise me the way that I chose to go. But my brother was drinking heavily, and he kept coming home. And I convinced my mom, it was New Year's, Mom, if you know what would really be smart, if you don't want to worry about John, you should let us have a party at the house. And from one night, I remember my mom I know I'm all over the place, but my mom, she would come home from like a fiesta, my mom would go to a Mexican fiesta, she'd come back with a margarita, and she'll put it in the freezer, and it would just sit there, and I used to always, and I was like afraid of my mom. I wasn't afraid of her, I respected her, you know, and and I would like ask her, can I just try it? She's like, no. And my brother would just come home all drunk, like he didn't care. He didn't have a care in the world. And I would be the one trying to like, John, brush your teeth, do this, take a shower, do something. Like I was worried. I'm probably also codependent. I know I'm codependent. But like speaking on it like that, it's like I cared more than he did. But anyway, so I convinced my mom to, and it flipped. From I basically brought everything that I was doing out there, how my mom didn't raise me, and I brought it into the house, and it was a night and day switch. I'm not proud to say like what transpired after that. It was my mom was at the mercy of me. Let's just say that, and that was really it's a bad thing. You know, I took advantage. I manipulated, and I spun everything to suit my mind, like how, like, you know, and it was really all about. I'm gonna go back to when I was a kid, about going to bed, just racking my brain. At that point, when I was a kid, I didn't know what to do. I didn't have any tools, I didn't, you know, not saying that when I'm older, like, not now today, but like, not saying that I did then, but at least then I had more ways to like spin it in my head. At 6 years old, I was just like, rah, 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 her shoelace, flower. You know what I mean? It was just all like a bunch of rattled thoughts in my head that, like, I would put in sections. Like, okay, I asked my brother, what section are we on? And he'd be looking at me like, dude, go the fuck to bed. And I'm like, Maya. I remember Maya. I was in first grade. I had a crush on this girl. I called her. I found her number on the phone book. I called her. Her dad came to the school the next day with the police. I called his daughter in like first grade, you know, like, is Maya there? And fucking, you know, anyways, that has nothing to do with what I'm here for tonight. But when I got older though, so alcoholism, when I got older, I would spin the world to like, because I used to do a lot of stuff that my mom she didn't raise me, you know, to do any of that. I always knew I was doing wrong. I didn't spend a lot of time at home. At 12 years old, I pretty much left because I was ashamed. You know, I didn't want to bring that. You know, it was. I was just really ashamed to be living the lifestyle, and I was choosing it. But at around 17, 18 years old, I'm gonna back up a little bit. By the time I was 11 years old, my father had passed away, and my mom damn near was gonna have a heart attack because she didn't know how to handle me. And I made what I thought was a 180-degree turn from my early childhood to 12 years old, because at 12 years old, about a year after my dad passed away, it was just bad. And I made a 100-degree turn, but that 100-degree turn, like, was still like, I needed to make another 180 to like get to like kind of where I'm at today, you know. And man, when I read in that book how it describes alcoholism, with the jaywalker, the actor scenario, like, those are all things that like I could identify as like, it has nothing to do with alcohol. It had nothing to do with that. My whole life I was trying to arrange life to suit myself. I was stepping on the toes of fellow. I was putting myself in position after position to later on get hurt. And then I was going to bed, spinning it to try and, you know, yeah, like imagine, thank God I had that though. Like, thank God I had that, the disease of perception, because if I didn't, like, I wasn't ready to really take a good look at myself and know, like, what is that going to do for me without a solution? I've done that too. I'll tell you about that in a little while, but, you know, so I used to just go to bed and I used to live my day. And so I'm trying to talk about alcoholism. The drink, the drink, I'll share a couple stories, you know. I don't even think it's really that important, you know. I drank, I blacked out. I can't even tell you. Like, I drank and I blacked out. And I fought. And I stole. And I was black and blue. I got one funny story. I was drinking with my friend. We were going to the bar. And the only reason I'm sharing this is for trying to lighten the mood. This is just, because I'm nervous. This tie is like cutting my fucking neck off. Sorry, I didn't even swear. That's my sponsor. So my friend, we went in his car. We went down to the club, and by the end of the night, I don't even know what happened. I woke up in my place with his car system on my table. And we drove together. We went there. I assume we got back together. I don't know what happened. But so I called him, and I knew the chances of me stealing that were very high, because I was like, but I wasn't sure. And this is a good friend that I grew up with, and that thing, so I called him up and I said, hey, what happened last night? And then he said, man, someone stole my radio. And I was like, that sucks. And I pawned it, I pawned it. I did. And I've done other stuff like that, to the more extreme, to the less extreme. In the book, it describes the obsession. My friends knew I was powerless before I ever did. I drank and I needed more. Like, I would walk into a liquor store, and I'm not trying to give anyone any pointers that might go back out. But this is what I would do. I would walk in a liquor store, and I wouldn't break eye contact with the gentleman that's at the thing. I'll take a bottle and walk away. Because I've learned in prior experiences, when you steal, they wait for you to turn your back and they like call the cops or whatever they do, And I would do that, and my friends knew I would do that. I got too many theft stories to, I'm not gonna go down the list, but so my friends would know that, like, hey, we're drinking a 6-pack. And at this time, I've always done other things. I've never just been a drinker. But alcohol and marijuana, I don't know which one came first, but they're pretty much at the same time at 12 years old, and then everything else came. My friends would have a 6-pack. I'm not drinking that, because it ain't gonna do nothing. So they would buy me a little, I don't know, a pint or a half pint, one shot, and it was like crack. Like alcohol, literally the same thing as crack. If I put that liquor in me, I'm gonna do whatever, and all that meant is I'm gonna steal. And they knew that. And me and my friends would drink, and we would literally take what's it called when you salute? We would like one of us is going to jail, and then, because that was the probability, and that was just the probability of it. And then I was able to. It's been 15 minutes. All right, so I'm an alcoholic, right? What happened? Let me tell you guys what happened. I reached a point where it didn't matter what it was, but I reached a point where what I was doing, I had qualms against. I no longer was okay with what I was doing, and I didn't know how to stop. I didn't try stopping alcohol. I never tried stopping alcohol before I got into rooms. It was, it's not my experience. But I reached a point where I was stuck. I didn't. It talks about this impending sense of doom in the big book, and I had it. My family had it. I had it. That nefarious lifestyle that I used to live. I used to wear that like a badge of honor. And at the end of my career, that I lost that. I didn't have like a scholastics or all these accolades of like sports. I didn't have that. My accolades were things I'm not proud of, and I lost that. And I literally lost, like, I was the guy in the alley, like that. You're like, you smell me before you see me, like that was me. And I didn't know how to stop. I tried a couple geographics. One of my geographics I tried, and all my geographics have never been because I wanted to like get better. That's always been like like something was going on and I needed to like get away, and like might as well try like being sober, like that was always like a add-on. Really, what it was I always get myself in positions to like, I needed to get the fuck out of Milwaukee. I needed to get out of Milwaukee. That was really what it was. So I went to New York. I went to Texas. My uncle's a devout Christian. He had a life and death experience, car accident, changed his life, and he's a devout Christian. And I went down there with him, and he told me, we're gonna go to church, and I said fine. He said, no, you're gonna be sober, and I said fine. And that worked for 3 months. And, when I would go to church, they would always ask in front, like, anyone want to, come up and be saved? And I always wanted to. I did. But my uncle would always look at me like I was going to do it, and I'm defiant. So I always felt like he was robbing me of that experience. So I never did it. I never did it. And I really did. I did. I wanted that, but my ego or my pride, whatever won, like, I'm going to do this. I'm not doing it because you, like, all that BS did get in the way of me, like, doing that. And he asked me to leave. He said, this is a type of house. And I respected it, and I wasn't mad at him. And I went to California, and I got reacquainted with some of my father's family, with my aunt. And it was night and day. First, so he's a Christian. I met my aunt. She's a witch. She is. She believes in whatever that's called. And she was telling me about it. She offered me a beer. I met my uncle, and he had like it took me like a month when I was living there for him to like show me what I was smelling. But like I would drink coffee with my aunt, and we would like smoke like outside issues. And he was a grower, and we were in California. It was night and day though. From 3 months, I was sober from just not having it around me, and I was happy in Texas. But there I was though. It was like it talks about that in the book, the making the conscious, or don't quote me, but it says it somewhere where you don't even think about it. You have no defense against that first drink or whatever. In my case, it was a drink and whatever. And there I was, and like I felt good about myself for, I had 3 months. I wasn't counting clean time at the time because I didn't even know about this like idea. I just knew I felt good, And then I go to my aunt's and I felt better. And I did that, and then I eventually made my way back to Milwaukee. So I don't know why I even said that. Sorry. Anyways, but so what happened, I reached that point, and then how I got here, it was truly, like, man, AA, I got so much gratitude for AA. Like, AA's been working in my life since Bill and Bob. That's when it all started, and it all started before him, and maybe they had a grandma that instilled some values and some, like, you know what I mean? But when you think about it, like, it is, because I truly did. I got here by ways and means of a friend of mine, you can almost equivalent it to a second step before I'm able to really get an understanding of a second step is like the powerlessness part. That's for me. That's that feeling of hope or no hope, hopelessness, and didn't know how to stop. Like didn't know how to. Like I was there. I had a friend. I thought he was in prison, and he said I reached out to him, or I saw him on Facebook, and I thought he got out of prison because when I don't hear from him for a little while, that's usually where he's at. And he said, "No, I'm in Arizona getting my life together. You should call this person and help you out." And I wasn't kind. The gentleman that he told me to call, I had wronged this man like 10 years prior. Last time I saw him, like, I had bad karma coming to me for what I did, and I didn't notice at the time. He told me, he said, get yourself a train or plane, however you get out here, and we'll worry about the rest. And I did, and I didn't know, and I did some, man, I didn't even thought about this. I owe amends to the lady who helped me get out here, just thinking about it. But I made sure I got out here, and I didn't know what was gonna happen. But what happened was, AA worked in his life, and AA worked in my friend's life, and he wasn't, telling me to come out here so I could right the wrong or get even with what I was doing. He was like, he wanted to help me, and he did. Man, saved my life. But I wasn't ready though when I got out here. I came out here, I thought the substances, I thought the alcohol was the problem. I just want, and really, to be honest with you, again, there was other stuff going on. Why getting sober was just like a bonus on top, or it was just like an add-on, I was just happy to make another Geographic. But it was a little different. It was like I knew that I was almost ready, I was almost ready. And I came out here and I was introduced to these rooms. They took us to a bunch of different meetings, a bunch of different fellowships, and there used to always, and I caught on, I picked up on some things when I first got here. There used to be the gentleman that was sitting in this corner. He doesn't attend this meeting anymore at lunch, and the gentleman has like 50-something years, and you know, my whole idea of like AA or treatment, I came through treatment. I had no concept of none of that, and I got in a van and I came to these meetings, and it was that gentleman. Really, I used to see him, and because I thought what we were doing, I thought this was when I was in treatment, a treatment thing. That's what I thought we were doing. And but I'll see people that like, this man has 50 years and he's in that same seat every time I come here, and I picked up real quick that what's going on here is very different. May have the same goal, but it's very different. You know, there's people doing this because they want to do this. That's what I picked up on, and then I picked up on there's people here been sober 50-something years that are still doing this, and I picked up on that. And so all I'm saying that for is that kind of made it easier for me when I was in treatment. It really did. It kind of helped me like differentiate. Like when I walk in that door, I'm part of something outside of all the BS that's going on at the place I'm at, and that helped me out a lot. What happened? A lot happened when I got sober. I've been out here 6 years. I don't have 6 years. My sobriety date is November 11th, 2018. I relapsed a couple times, and what that looked like was, you know, it didn't really, like, it comes back to not understanding alcoholism and thinking that alcohol is my problem, and like I'm not drinking anymore, so you know life's pretty good, and just, you know, like not having the experience of like what these steps really mean, or all the cliches like one day at a time. If you feel bad, it's you, not them. Like when I heard all that stuff, I've been like, the cliches haven't changed, the program hasn't changed, nothing changed but my life experiences. And what I have done, I just kept coming back. I kept coming back when I was sober. I kept coming back when I was not sober. I always kept coming back. I mean, there was a period of time where I just like I wasn't here, but like I knew the solution was in these rooms. You know, I've tried the detoxes, and that was because alcohol and other things were a problem, and I just needed to be detoxed, right? I didn't understand this, the spiritual principles. While like anything that I hold true, anything that means something to me about this program, I learned it by not doing it while coming back, hearing other people's experiences and stories by either doing the same thing or doing what the program suggests, probably the same way that I was doing it, through trial and error, and then it rang true, because I'm like, man, like, you know, I always have to like try things my own way, you know, like what it looked like before being willing to do this. It was the detoxes. It was the switching from. I think I tried the liquor to just beer one time. Like it talks about that in the book. That was my way of trying to get sober. Like I had all these ideas, and that's not wrong. Like I don't think that's. I think that's how this program is designed to work for me. Like I learned all my lessons the hard way, but when I get them, at least I understand them. There's, you know, what happened was I came in here and I was broken, and then I was humbled, and all that means is I tried it my way again, and this goes along with either I relapsed or I haven't relapsed. Either way though, whenever I learn something about this program, to be true to myself, I'm humbled, and what that means is I do something to embarrass myself, and I'm like, okay. I'm not saying I'm humble. I was humbled, and that's how this program works. I'm gonna try and spend 15 minutes on like what it's like today, because it's great today, guys. It really is. It's not ideal, but it's great, you know, because the life is changing. um, like life on life's terms. Like I've learned, or I've experienced enough being in being an active member of AA that I could apply the solution of AA and these steps to life on life's terms. And when I do that, it gets me out of here. The Serenity Prayer, great tool, right? God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, power to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. As I'm not asking like for anyone to say anything, but like, if you ever like applied that, like we hear it so much, and I remember like when that caught on to me, I used to say it, and I was like, man, why don't I try to apply this? Like, and there were situations in my life where I had to apply it, and it kept me from just going down the rabbit hole of self, and which eventually leads to me picking up. That's my experience when I get in my head. I either stay in it, I feel bad, I do bad, and that's to this day. I feel bad and I do bad. My whole life was run on action, or my whole life was run on my feelings and my thoughts. And it was so natural, like I wouldn't think any other way to live. I think this, I'm gonna do this, I'm hungry, I eat, I'm thirsty, I drink. Like I didn't even think that, like that's like, how else would you live? Until I kept putting myself in positions to get hurt. And then everything that I was thinking about didn't even matter because there I was again, And there I'll be again today, Like I feel brand new. A lot of people say you're brand new till you get 5 years. I'm like almost there, and I do ring that true to myself. They talk about more will be revealed on, I think it's page 164, and like my experience, it's a wonderful thing. It's like I'm my first year, some stuff was revealed about myself. My second year, more is being revealed. All it is like stuff that like I get to work on. I didn't know I was so messed up because I was always like without drugs and alcohol were my immediate thing in my life. I didn't know that I had all these different things I needed to work on. And I get to work those things out today, as long as my sponsor says just stay the course. So I'm gonna tell you, and I'm not so. Okay, I talked about drugs for a second. I'm gonna talk about something else for a second, just because it's kind of relevant. Struggling with gambling, man. I've been struggling with gambling for like really struggling for like a year, right? My sponsor told me a couple months, 2 months ago that I was speaking, and I was like, man, I gotta stop gambling by then, because I can imagine me coming up here and just losing like a bunch of money, right? Like that would suck, right? Like, I've done that, not spoke, but like I've like lost a bunch of money, and there I am in my head and what I could have did, what I should have done, and this powerlessness, So I did the detox thing with gambling, and I banned myself from the websites. Because I'm already banned from the casino. I did that. Didn't stop me. I'm not trying to qualify for a GA, but just letting you guys know, like I'm still struggling. Like I didn't know I had a problem with that. I didn't know I had a problem with other things. Like, and I get to it, but I know I'm not the solution, and I still come up with great ideas. Like I still do, And then, I can imagine, it's all about surrender. I love my sponsor. He always talks about, all we have are deeper levels of surrender. And that's what my experience has been since I've been out here in Arizona, including the time that, like this last stint of sobriety. Just deeper levels of surrender. Things that I've, if you're new here, man, welcome. Like, for a couple people picked up 30 days and 60 days, and someone got a year. Man, it really is a beautiful way of life. There's a solution to my problems that doesn't change. The writing on the wall and the writing in the book, that doesn't change. I didn't understand. I do believe this today. And if you don't believe it, that's fine. Like stay the course, and hopefully it will. Or you'll find out that you don't, and like that's fine too. Like whatever's good. I didn't understand why I would need to apply this program to like situations in my life. What's this got to do with me picking up? What does this have to do with me drinking? What is this? Like I didn't understand that. I understand that in the big book, it does a great job at first at describing the alcoholic, the different types of alcoholic. I'm not gonna get into like in this page it says that because I'm not that well versed in it. But when I do read it, and like it's so true. It's the feeling that I identify with. There used to be this guy in town. He used to tell me like 100% of the time, whatever you feel has nothing to do with them, everything to do with you. And I used to want to like jump up and just, like, cause it was like, and a lot of that was like, cause I'm just like, I'm the victim here, like, hold up, man, like what? Like it was so like a foreign concept. And I've learned that, like, and just because I've caught on to like that's like a true thing that rings true, doesn't mean that I 100% like situations come up, apply that at that instance, like, but I usually come around to it, and I usually come around to it. I feel brand new, you guys. Like I sometimes I think in my head I should be farther along where I'm at, or like maybe like I wish I like had a reason to like wear a suit every day. I do. I wish I had a good job where I was like, first of all, I'm not talking about my work, but I do believe I have a good job. But I wish I had like a professional. I want to be professional, I wanted my I don't even know where I was going with that, but I don't know. I'm gonna just try and speak to the, like, I'm up here and I'm sharing my experience, guys. I try to identify a little bit with you guys for identification purposes, but anything other than that, like it's my experience and how I apply the steps, the traditions. The traditions, thank God for the traditions. The traditions kept me here. Sometimes when I wasn't able to like do anything over here, I was here because I had a desire. I can't tell you how many times I walked in a room just solely based off that tradition right there. And there's been some times in my sobriety where I've been at my lowest point, and without a program, that's all it would have been. It would have been me at a bad point. I can't tell you how many times I've been in this program at a low point, and then I get a phone call, or I take a suggestion of what it says in the book. I pray and I, immediately call someone, see what I can help. But it's not about me no more. Now it's about all my low point experiences, helping someone else. Like, one of the sayings, trust God, clean house, help others. I don't think it might say that, but that's it's true, and the only thing that will keep me out of that, life on life's terms will happen. Maybe 2 weeks from now, life on life's terms will happen, and I'll be in self, and I'll be like, and then I'll remember. The thing is that I try to stay the course. How my sponsor would say it. I've gone times where I haven't called my sponsor as often as I should. I've gone times where I don't raise my hand to sponsor because I'm so in selfish and self-centered that, and it talks about that in the book, like it blocks you off from the sunlight of the spirit when I'm all in my head, and I felt that way. And the only thing out of it is to take contrary action. And the only way I'm willing to do that, I always got to bring it down to my first step, and that is, well, why would I do any of this? And I still got to remind myself sometimes today, like, why would I do any of this? And it's because, because I remember what I am, who and what I am. I'm an alcoholic, amongst other things, and I don't want to, and I know I will. Okay. Real quick, I got 2 minutes. I just want to say, I want to give a shout out to the program, and that's all of you guys, because we're all equals here. We're all this is AA, Who knows the effect you guys are gonna have on the next people that come, like that's literally how it worked in my life, like literally, and it started 10 years before I even had the idea. You never know, and we're all just here. We're all just here, trying to. I hope we're all trying to get sober, stay sober, and what helped me was realizing that first step. I didn't go through the steps, but really that first step is something that can't be given to you. It's something couldn't be given to me. I had to experience it, and there's other things in my life that I had to experience the same process with. But anyways, so I'm gonna go. Thank you guys.